This, this crisis is affecting an entire generation of Ukrainians. The youth are not learning in schools. Our farmers aren't maintaining their growing seasons. The businesses are not producing. The displaced person catastrophe is only growing. What can we do here in Michigan to help? Most importantly, we must prepare our local communities to receive a mass influx of displaced persons. We are so blessed here in Michigan to have such a rich Ukrainian community that already exists. There are over 6 million Ukrainians in the diaspora, 1 million of which are here in the United States, tens of thousands of which are here in Michigan. I propose that our state focus on reinforcing and redeveloping the Ukrainian community right here in our own state. We have closed Ukrainian schools that we can reopen. We have Ukrainian-American leaders who have been mobilized and are ready to lead task forces with the support of other Michigan leaders. We have an opportunity in this very state to be Poland, the friendly neighbor with bilingual signs and access to help. Additionally, I have 3 asks of Michigan leaders. One, as Anatoly said, we must divest Russian assets from our economy. We would be joining Ohio, Colorado, New York, and Georgia, who have already done that in their own states. We must also ask the State Department to streamline the laws repatriating Ukrainians into this country. And we must continue to work with Russia and Belarus to continue to open humanitarian corridors to allow these displaced persons to leave Ukraine. As a student of history, I must also note and caution that while 200,000 Ukrainians were resettled in the US, Australia, UK, and Canada after World War II, there were many who weren't. Another approximately 2.8 million persons were unfortunately repatriated back to the former USSR, where most were placed into camps or executed. We cannot repeat this horrible mistake, and we must lead the way in our own state for humanitarian resettlement. Thank you, and Slava Ukraina, glory to Ukraine and to their soldiers.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. So a few action items that I want to just highlight for both club members and also for any officials that might be on joining us today. So in general, there are donations. I put some in the chat, and Lauren has a one-pager she could share with you. It's clearly, you could also volunteer. There's a few volunteer things going on. These are very local. So UCare, the one-pager that includes where UCare will be doing a collection and packing that's happening March 21st to the 26th. So I'll post that momentarily in the chat as well, so you can participate in that. Today, there's an event, or it's a way to show support, the Ukrainian-American National Women's League, Detroit branch, which is really a very local connection. They're doing an event where you can go to the All-American Screen Printing Company. I'll post it in the chat. You can make your own Ukrainian T-shirt, and the proceeds go to support Stand for Ukraine. That's going on today from noon to 6. So those are that's an immediate action. Donations are another immediate action. The volunteer with UCare that's happening in a week's time is a way you could also participate. Donations are, there's many types of donations. So the links I posted for you give you a chance to determine what you wish to support. I also want to invite you all, I appreciate Anatoly and Natalia hopping on. The Ukrainian-American community has been kind of very overtaxed, but we want to get the information out there. If you're in a member of a forum, so Tim, I saw your question about the school board. If you're at some kind of forum that you think would benefit from having some education, I've already reached out to the principal at Royal Oak High School, Mike Geremini, to see if I could speak to students. To the service clubs there as well. So we're happy to provide information that can tell you about the situation, the history, etc. So invite us to speak. You could contact me. I'll put my email in the chat. The other things that I want you to, for our officials to be aware of, and if you are, and also our businesses, protect your site, make sure you have good cybersecurity. There's no, I think we've done a good job since 2016 to do that, but continue to be vigilant, watch for phishing emails. That is a way that we are vulnerable and continue to be vulnerable, and we have to be hyper vigilant. And then finally, for our officials, show up. Very appreciative. The Ukrainian-American community has been appreciative when Dave Coulter came, when different mayors came, when Andy Levin has again been a real champion for us and has
Debbie
been.
Dingle. I just want to throw in that Debbie Dingle did appear at a rally last Saturday, so she also showed support. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Natalia. So I'm, if anybody has any questions, but there's always opportunities to act. It's not that far. I would also add that it might be upcoming. We have a local, not Royal Oak, but local into Southeast Michigan, a young woman who is left for Romania yesterday to provide humanitarian assistance on the ground. So those opportunities may come available. Stay tuned. This is very evolving. We all can support. We all can take action. So just stay tuned.
Larissa and friends, we appreciate it so much. And I know we kind of like tossed you into the middle of this. You put together this beautiful presentation for us so quickly. And I know that, the first portion of our meeting did run a little bit long, so thanks for sticking with us. But I hope everyone in the meeting can understand the timeliness of all of this, but also the time sensitive nature of it, right? We didn't want to hold off. We didn't want to push it till April. We didn't want to wait and say, we'll see how things go, because we wanted to get you this as quick as possible, and as soon as possible. Does anyone have any questions for Larissa or our guests? Questions or want more details about any of the stuff that we've been sharing? That one pager is there. It's a Word document that's been shared with me, as well as a few links that Larissa has been posting.
Can I just make one more comment that I think is an important message from the Ukrainian community? Because we are still developing the immigration laws that will allow Ukrainians to come over, it has been told to me by immigration attorneys, though I am not one, that we must not refer to them as refugees or asylum seekers, because this will possibly throw them into a decades-long process of attempting to resettle. So when discussing Ukrainian people leaving Ukraine, it would be far preferable to refer to them as displaced persons for legal reasons. So if anyone on this call can continue to take that narrative and push it out, we greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a great clarification, right? Language continues to be incredibly important, and it's good for us to all be on the same page about things like that. Elaine actually just sent me a message, and I was going to ask about the same thing. Forgive me if this is a really silly question, but I've seen things circulating over the last day or so that Airbnb is actually a good way to support and donate and get money quickly into the country, that people are saying that you can, rent a house, obviously not go, but it's a way to get money into the pocket of citizens in some of these cities quickly. Is that accurate? Is that dangerous? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, Natalia, if you have some thoughts. I do have some thoughts, but Natalia, I don't know if you've heard anything.
Not about Airbnb, but I would say that the safest way to get to the front line, in my opinion, is that there are some local Ukrainian churches which are doing direct wire transfers without any fees that you could also take advantage of, which are reliable, very reliable.
I would add that Airbnbs can be investors that may be under the ground and not on the ground. I don't know how you always know that whether the resources are getting directly to individuals there. So again, those are also harder to vet. I think it's attractive. And I don't know if it's like also a corporate citizenship thing for Airbnb to get. So I don't know. I think that I would recommend the other resources that we've mentioned, or also the local churches.
On that topic, it is frustrating because we have mobilized a bunch of organizations for donations and that sort of thing, but they are constantly being attacked and taken down by Russian cyber attackers. And so it is crucial that if you are going to donate, that you find some source that is vetted and that, you know, is able to protect itself. There is a great organization based out of New Jersey called Osm, which I'm sure Larissa has on that handout. That's generally right now agreed to be the most reliable source of donations to get to the front lines.
Yeah, that's a great clarification. And that was kind of my gut feeling. You know, some of it's just as quickly as information moves. I know some of it is even probably well-meaning, but sometimes, you know, it's just important that we make sure that that money especially is getting to people that will use it the most effectively and get to the most amount of people.
I also saw last night that we have a volunteer and diplomat in Philadelphia who's been very active because she's the liaison between the U.S. and Ukraine consulate and embassy. And she has posted a list of Amazon wish list items where people in Ukraine are actually signing up on Amazon for the most demanded item are medical treatment packs, like the kind that EMTs carry. And, you know, they're asking for tourniquets and very basic medical needs. So I do know that those wish lists for people on the front lines in Ukraine are up there, and you can tell they're legitimate if they're asking for those types of items. So.
If you can find that and post it in the chat, that would be great.
Yes, I'll post that right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Thank you. Any other questions or comments for our guests? No. See none. Again, I just want to extend a huge thank you. Our hearts and thoughts are with you and the Ukrainian people, and we just want to make sure that we continue, you know, to support and learn about this these events. And I think it was maybe surprising, right, that we did have such a large Ukrainian-American community so nearby. So thanks for bringing that to us and sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, seeing no other questions, comments, or anything like that, I do want to turn the floor over to all of you. Is there anyone joining us? We have a huge turnout for our meeting, which I just love, with two such vital and important bits of information right here at the top of our meeting. I feel really good about how many people we're reaching this morning, even if we are, you know, still continuing to do so on Zoom. Is there anyone that is joining us here for the first time in a while, the first time ever? Is there anybody that has some maybe local updates or things that they want to put on our radar and invite us to? I've got a couple party updates that I can mention later in the meeting, but I want to just address, you know, some local things right now. If you want to raise your hand using that menu at the bottom of your screen, or if you just want to come off mute and say hello, we'd love to hear from you. So anybody brand new, anybody new in a long time, or anybody with some local invites and news that we should be aware of.
Hi, my name is Rose. I'm sitting with my husband, Bob. I am not appropriate for camera, so we're not going to do this, but we just moved to Royal Oak from South Lyon. And I actually was the chair of the South Lyon Dems for a couple of years. So we're excited to tip our toes in the water of the Royal Oak Club as well.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. Thanks for being here, and welcome to our neighborhood. What are your closest cross streets? What precinct are you in? We're going to want to put you in touch with William soon.
11. We're at 11 in Maine is our closest intersection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good.
Yeah.
William Asher is our local precinct delegate liaison, and so we'll be sure to reach out to you and, you know, see how you want to get involved and get you in touch with stuff. But we're thrilled to have you. South Lyon is probably a little bit of a different community, but as the borders change and as our districts change, we're also beginning to, you know, work a lot more cross county. So I think you're going to have some good insight for us, hopefully.
Thank you.
Super. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Welcome. Amanda, I see your hand.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. The Royal Oak Environmental Advisory Board is wrapping up the Sustainability and Climate Action Plan. We're going to be posting that for public comment, I think, next week. And there's going to be a few weeks where you can review the document, give feedback, and then Julie Lyons-Bricker is going to wrap it all up, and then it'll go to the City Commission. So if you have some time to read our document and the plans for sustainability in Royal Oak, please give us your feedback. Thanks.
That's great. Thanks so much. I know that that's been a long process, but I'm excited to see some things come of it. Any other introductions, hellos? Haley, hi.
I'm unmuted. Hello. It's great to be with the Royal Oak Dems. I'm Congresswoman Haley Stevens, proudly representing Michigan's 11th district. Hi, Rose. I worked with Rose when she was running the South Lyon Dems. Hello. I'm glad to see you already getting active with an incredible Dem Club. And also, Amanda, great to see you on Zoom. Congratulations on getting to that place with the sustainability plan. Very enthusiastic about what you're working on. And just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself. This is actually my first Royal Oak Dem Club meeting, although I have watched all of you from the sidelines for a long time and have represented all the way up to Royal Oak with 14 Mile and getting in trouble for hosting events at Mount Chalet, which has the Royal Oak address, but it's a Birmingham bar. But now we're just one big district. And look, we've got a governor to reelect. I know you had Attorney General Nessel on. So proud that you guys, and delighted to see that you had Attorney General Nessel on today, because she's going to have a major election and the Royal Oak Democrats are going to make a big difference because you are organized, you get out and vote, and certainly, you know, we need to continue to have the champion that is Dana Nessel in the Attorney General office. And thank you also for the briefing on Ukraine. I've been double tagging this entire morning. We heard from President Zelensky this morning as an entire Congress. It was the first meeting I've ever had with Senator Mitch McConnell, but he was there along with, you know, Senator Chuck Schumer and Gary Peters, and all my House colleagues were on as well. And man, is he fighting, and does he know what to ask for? And this is certainly the plight of democracy. It's the plight of democracy that all of us are a part of here in the United States of America as well. You know, when we ask ourselves, where does democracy manifest? It manifests in clubs and Zooms and meetings like you all are having. So I know I'm going to get more time to talk to all of you later, but I'm just so geeked to have the opportunity to represent Royal Oak and to work alongside all of you. And I come to these club meetings just to listen and learn. And, you know, sorry, I wasn't on a little bit earlier, but we were also at the pipe fitters kicking off a big petition drive, and that was really cool. So we're getting the vote out in Oakland County already. We're getting it started. So thanks so much.
No need to be sorry at all, Haley. Thanks so much for joining us and fitting us in. I know you're between a lot of different things, so we're really excited to have you here. Are you able to stick around a little bit in case people have questions in a minute, or do you want?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm here for a minute. Yep, that's great.
Lauren, I just want to thank Congresswoman Stevens also for her support for Ukraine. We've seen you've been at the event at a cultural center, so thank you. We really appreciate your support as well.
Fantastic. Tom, I see a hand from you.
Yeah, just want to invite everybody, if you're interested in getting involved in the new Royal Oak Community Garden. We're meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the Royal Oak Senior Center, and everybody's welcome.
Great, thanks so much for that. We're seeing some really good progress with that too. Do you have a location yet, or is that what the meeting's going to be about?
It's going to be at Churchill School on Girard in the courtyard behind it.
Fantastic. Good.
It'll be in the next Royal Oak Insight magazine. You'll be able to sign up for a plot. But
cool. Charlotte.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to invite people. I don't know if you followed, but I've been involved in the Friends of the Main Art, an effort to revive independent cinema at the Main Art Theater. And we are having a benefit screening of Wes Anderson's The Grand Budapest Hotel at the Royal Oak Farmers Market on Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. I'll put a flyer in the chat and you all are welcome. It's admission is free, but we're looking for donations on Eventbrite. I know it's not a world-shaking event, but it is local and it's part of our community. So I thought I'd throw it out there. Anyway. Okay, that's it.
I think it's fantastic. Thanks for your work with that. And yeah, send us the details and we'll be sure to advertise for you as well. Okay. Good. Any other hellos or local announcements? Great. William Asher, any updates for precinct delegates, information kind of from the neighborhoods, or news from your side of the stuff?
Well, last month I threatened to call all the existing precinct delegates to find out their status in terms of returning the affidavit. And I've done that, except for, there were 2 I didn't call, so I'll get around to them maybe later today. But the statistics aren't really encouraging. I had 3 that have already sent the affidavit in. 12 told me they would be sending it in. I left messages at 25 of voice messages, and I sent emails to 3 for whom I didn't have phone numbers. And then I found 8 who were not running, either because they've moved or moved on. So that's we have a total of 52 precinct delegates and a few precinct delegate candidates. So anyway, that's what I've done this month. What I'm planning on doing going forward is going into a recruitment phase. And I guess the Democratic Precinct Delegates of Oakland County, DIPDOG, has a strategy for using text messaging against a list of likely volunteers. So many of you will likely get text messages from me, but I don't want you to have to wait for those text messages. If you're interested in being boots on the ground to help save democracy, please get in touch with me, and we can get you set up as a precinct delegate. And I guess I'll put my contact information in the chat. We need all the boots we can get.
Excellent. Mike James, question or comment?
Yes, William, I'm willing to do some footwork or whatever that you might need to help out in this. I'd like to be able to help make this work. So
excellent. Thank you. In terms of recruitment, I can give you lists of things. We can get together. Okay, thank you.
I'll send you a message.
All right.
Great. Good networking. Any other party updates? Anybody from either the Michigan or Oakland county levels of the party that needs some updates or information for us? Great. Seeing none. I know that we're running a little bit long today. If you need to get on with your day, feel free to drop off. We are currently recording, so we'll make sure that we have that accessible to everyone. But we do invite you to stay. We're going to move into our elected officials reports. So if you are a person on the call right now who is an elected official that wants to give us any kind of update about what's going on your side, any needs that you have from us as your constituents, now is the time that we want to hear from you. So go ahead and raise your hand. I'll get you kind of in a queue, and then we'll be able to hear from everyone. Haley Stevens, since you're still on the call, do you want to go ahead and jump on first in case you need to leave?
Sure, that's great. No, I'd be happy to. And again, what a real treat to be with the Royal Oak Dems. I'll tell you, I grew
Haley, we've got some interrupting.
Stuff, the old word, where I been at Birmingham Seaholm High School. Is it me?
Yeah, I think so. Do you want to maybe try shutting off your video and try that again? Oh no. It's not just on my end, is it? Was anybody able to hear Haley's update?
No, couldn't hear.
Okay. Sorry, Haley. I think that we, either have a bad connection or maybe you're in and out of range. But we weren't able to hear anything you just said. Oh, she's rejoining us. Yay, Zoom. This is so fun.
I don't know why it was cutting out. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
I'm so sorry about that. I know I hate when that happens. It goes through in full service. Well, listen, I was trying to say we're so excited to be representing Royal Oak because I grew up in Birmingham. My husband was born in Royal Oak, and look, it's a big time in the Congress right now. It's a majorly serious time, and look, by and large, the body is united around Ukraine's plight and the plight for democracy and the access to resources. We voted on a resolution this week condemning Russian action and expressing our support for the Ukrainian people. All but 3 members of Congress on the Republican side voted for it. Obviously very disappointed to see any Republican not voting for it. And working very closely right now, and this is something I want all of you to know and put your thinking caps on. I work very closely with Dave Woodward, who, Royal Oak's hometown son, has done a lot of great work for the county writ large and, the Democratic efforts and is now helping to run he's the chair of the Oakland County Commission, but we have got resources that have come to the county, that have come to the city of Royal Oak, and that are coming to the state of Michigan vis-a-vis rescue. The rescue dollars, obviously the amazing effort to get vaccines and shots in people's arms, what we were doing a year ago, but also now the resources for rebuilding our communities and the infrastructure dollars. So particularly around the maintenance and improvement of our roads, but also what we need to do for electric vehicle charging. And so I've had the privilege of meeting with Amanda and getting a little bit of a briefing, Amanda Herzog, on what you all are up to on the sustainability front. The coordination that we have got to take as members of Congress to make sure that Michigan is lined up for those dollars at the infrastructure level. Obviously, you hear a lot about the potholes, but there's all this incredible innovation that sees through our region. Hotbed of automotive, we all know that. Where our auto industry right now is really pushing for, zero carbon emissions. And we've got to have the infrastructure for that as well. We've got to have it in our homes and we've got to have it in our communities. So I've been really focused on that. Some of that's going to continue to come down in this next version of Build Back Better, what we're calling Building Back America, the legislation that we'll vote on hopefully imminently. And with that, it's the lowering of price pressures that are impacting everyday Americans. Prescription drug costs being through the darn roof. It's a total inequity. The Democrats, folks, have a bill for that, right? Lowering prescription drugs, allowing Medicare to negotiate. So as you're out doing the work in your precincts and as you're talking to voters, say that, right? Is that Democrats want to lower your costs, what you're experiencing with prescription drugs as a family, what you're dealing with on the healthcare front, and certainly what you're dealing with on the daycare front. The cost of daycare in America being exorbitant. Again, the Democrats have a bill to lower daycare costs in America so that no family would pay over 7% of their income for daycare costs. And that's just a huge inequity that's impacting us here in Oakland County, and it's very, very real. And then lastly, paid family leave. We've got to get paid family leave done, just as we talk about what is a passion of mine and one of the things I ran for Congress on, ending gun violence in America. We've got 3 incidences of domestic violence just in Troy, a neighboring community to Royal Oak in the last handful of months, all involving weapons. We're still reeling from the shooting at Oxford High School. We have a sickness and a problem with gun violence in America, and we have got to once and for all pass national legislation around ending loopholes, putting in red flag laws into place, and universal background checks. Because every day we do not pass a law for gun violence in this country is another day that we are condoning what takes place in homes where, again, just this past week, just within this week, a father in Troy commits suicide, kills his 6-year-old, and shoots his wife. This happened in a home in Troy, Michigan. It is not acceptable. Obviously, we need to have the mental health resources as well. We have got to plus that up in Michigan. We've got to have a number that people can call. This is why I have, along with the Oakland County Commission with Dave Woodward's leadership, have supported resources for our police departments so that they can have social workers on their PDs, right? We need to have the social workers. And by the way, I see Shar Douglas here and Brandon Colo, and this Royal Oak Commission, the city commission that you guys have is really second to none. And so when we start talking about housing and public transportation, I'm taking notes from them. All right. I mean, I'm taking notes from your city commission on how to get things done. And that's how Haley Stevens does business, is I do it from the bottom up. I come right into the local level and work with everyone. So that's a little bit of a snapshot of what we're working on in Washington. And please know the line and the door's always open. You'll be seeing me a lot in Royal Oak. Had a blast at the Winter Blast. Can't believe how much money we raised for Special Olympics and on. You should all be so, so proud of your city. I'm fired up about what you guys are doing.
We can tell. We're so happy.
And I yield back.
Thank you for your yield. Any questions, comments for Haley at the moment while we've got her? We are in the process of working on an event, coming up here to be able to showcase her a little bit better and make sure that we have, plenty of time to unpack some questions for both her and Congressman Levin. I'm not seeing any at the moment. But we do have lots of, I don't know if you can see the chat or not, but we do have, some messages of support and hello. And so thanks for your continued support of the city. And we'll be talking to you soon. Okay, Haley?
Sounds like a plan. And hi to Melanie Macy too. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave her out. I know everyone on commission is just fabulous.
They are. We're very, very lucky. I'm going to hand the floor over to Dave Woodward. Hey, good morning. Good afternoon. Nope, good morning still.
It's still good morning, and I'm at the end of a soccer game for Ellie, so I'm just jumping in real quick. And I'm gonna keep this very brief. 2 things, and great job to ROADC again for just doing an amazing job. Great panel. I want to talk about 2 things: transit and minimum wage. Everyone probably read about Auburn Hills taking some action to opt out of SMART in transit. The SMART millage renewal is scheduled for renewal this year anyway. And it's a disappointing blow. I mean, where the conversation is, well, I don't know if all of our residents use transit, yet we do have a university that people have to get to for the entire region. We have major employers that workers have to get to. We have people who have healthcare needs that need to get outside the boundaries of Auburn Hills. It may have actually triggered what I've been needing for a while, is a spark to force a countywide conversation around transit. And so I'm pulling Marie Donegan out of retirement here. She is also the chair of our Oakland County Public Transit Authority. Good news short term, Auburn Hills is in the compact and it cannot easily get out. You're going to see a big free press story tomorrow. But more importantly, we're starting to work with my colleagues on the board and our county administration. I think the time is now for a countywide solution that builds on the transit service that exists, closes gaps so that we're no longer having a Swiss cheese approach to transit, and improves mobility and transit for everyone. And I'm going to be working with my colleagues. We, for the first time in history, have a pro-transit majority board of commissioners, a pro-transit executive, a pro-transit Oakland County Public Transit Authority. And I think all the pieces are starting to align for making measured progress there. So stay tuned. but I wanted to tease that up. I know a number of club members have reached out to me. What are we going to do? Well, I need 2 more weeks. And then I can in detail tell you what we're going to do. Then one other thing is, and Tom Reagan's here, and he's been in this fight, and many others in the club here. I'm involved with a ballot initiative effort to raise the wages of working people, to raise minimum wage to $15 an hour. I'm going to send stuff to Lauren and the whole team. We need to collect about 500,000 signatures in a pretty short timeline. The good thing is that we've raised a tremendous amount of money already to support a paid signature gathering effort. I need to count on my friends in Royal Oak Dems and everybody else to help get those signatures in by the end of May, so that we can place a minimum wage question on the ballot. Aside from raising minimum wage of $15 an hour, which is a policy issue that I know that we all agree on, it is also has the potential for a massive voter turnout tool to help motivate particularly our base to come out in November. And as we know, I mean, the political environment is fickle at the least. The party in the White House struggles often in the midterm, and we need this tool to turn out votes come November. My mentor, John Freeman, I also want to who brought me into this movement 20 plus years ago. These are all, this is a winnable issue for us, not only on the ballot, but a massive voter turnout tool that we need to ensure the victories for the top of the ticket and all the way down to growing the majority on the county board. So you'll be hearing more about that. But when I reach out, please take the call and please lean in to help to get the signatures necessary to qualify this thing later this spring. That's it.
Fantastic. Any questions for Dave Woodward? Cool. We're excited to hear these updates that you're teasing a little bit. We know you're hard at work, and we're going to put that majority right to our advantage. I know Dave Kultzer's State of the County address is coming up this week, next week. What's the date on that? March 15th. So
next Tuesday. Yeah, yep, next Tuesday.
So make sure that you watch that. It's streamed live so that we can, hear all those important updates and you know where we're at. So let us know what we need to do with those petitions, and we'll make sure. I think that's going to be an issue that we all feel very strongly about. So the second they're ready to go, we'll hit the farmers market. Any questions for Dave before we switch? No. Great. Let's move on to our city commissioners. Melanie Macy, I see your hand.
Hey everybody, good to see you. I think we got a bunch of city commissioners. So one thing that happened in the last month is we had a presentation from our city manager and from White House.
Melanie, your audio is cutting in and out. Sorry, it's really hard to hear what you're saying.
Okay, hold on, let me see if I can. Better now? Yeah, okay. Okay, so I was just trying to give an update on what's been going on with ARPA, our federal funds. So the city of Royal Oak has received $28 million in federal funds from the American Rescue Plan Act. And we hired Guidehouse, who's also been hired by a lot of the other municipalities and the counties around to help us to spend that money. We saw a presentation from Guidehouse this last month, kind of going through what we had talked about, saying our priorities are to spend this money, and giving us a list of what we would like to do that we're also eligible to do. There's still quite a lot of work to be done between where we are now and actually getting the money spent. One of the major things that we're looking at is infrastructure and affordable housing. We don't often get a large pot of money like this that we can use for those big projects. And so we really want to make the best use of it. So those are some of the large things we have on our plate, and we're looking forward to figuring out how to spend those. There's obviously both infrastructure and attainable housing. There's dozens of ways to address both of those issues. And we're still looking at the details of that. And I'm hoping to find out more from Guidehouse soon on that front. In this last meeting we had, the previous pot of money that we received, the CARES money, which we got, I think, in 2020, we found out there was about $700,000 of that we have not been able to spend, and we are looking for ways to figure out how to do that. If we don't do it within the next year, we have to give it back. So we'd rather not give it back. It's not as if every need is going to be met in the community in that time, but it is a very restrictive pot of money. It not only has to follow the CDBG general guidelines, but it also has to be very specifically tied to COVID. So it has to be something preparing for or responding to COVID. So what city staff is looking at that really carefully. And if any of you are on the boards of any of the local nonprofits, you probably should have received an email this last week. We did another push out to our nonprofits to see if we can get them to ask for a pot of this money, including Royal Youth Assistance. I think I saw some people from that on the call, Marianne. And so I encourage, if you are involved in a nonprofit at all, to really look at that application, because it has some really restrictive rules. I think some nonprofits think that they don't want to do it because you have to be able to check a box that income was affected by COVID. And for a lot of nonprofits, they don't want to have to do that. They don't want to have to ask their clients for that. So, but there's all this money out there, and it's really frustrating that we're having trouble getting it to the places it needs to go. So I really encourage everyone to look at that. Also, we are, of course, looking at what other municipalities have done, but if you out there have some good ideas about ways that we could spend this money, please don't keep them to yourself. Come bring them to us at the City Commission. $700,000 is a lot of money, and we want to make sure it gets out there. I think we're working about the master plan. I think I might have mentioned last time the Parks master plan is coming up, and that will be in a much shorter timeline than the master plan. We already have put out the request for proposals and received them back. And they will be choosing someone to go through that process for us pretty soon in the next month or so. And we hope to get a lot of citizen engagement on that and people telling us what they like in their parks and what they need in their parks and what we could do better. Okay, I think I'm gonna let the rest of the city commissioners talk about the other things that we've been working on. But I'm gonna mention as well a little campaign update, because I am a candidate for the 7th district, which state house in Michigan, which includes Royal Oak, just up to 12 Mile, which, I feel sad for all my north of 12 Mile friends, but I'll be getting started on the campaign pretty soon. I've been fundraising and I'm gonna need to do that some more. It's a very Democratic district, so this will be all about the primary. So far, no one else has declared in this race, but I know for a fact that will not be the case once the deadline comes up in late April. I'm expecting there'll be a handful of people on the ballot. So I need to get my name out there and let people know what I stand for. So I will put my link in the chat so people can check out my website and donate if you'd like. And it's going to be 50 degrees today, which means it's time to knock doors. So I'll be getting out in Detroit and Ferndale, and I would love to have people come with me. And if you've knocked doors before, great. But if you haven't, I will happily train you and take you out for wine or coffee or whatever you'd like afterwards. And I also want to say, when I've been talking to people about state rep, I feel like almost everyone says like, oh yeah, I'm going to donate to your campaign, but also I need to tell you about this thing that you need to do with the state legislature. And then they sort of apologize, but don't apologize, because that's great. Like this, the brain trust, that's what I'm hoping to bring to the state legislatures. I'm not an expert on everything. And so if you have something you're passionate about and you want to work on, please tell me and bring that to me. And walking around and canvassing together is a great way to talk to me about things that you care about so that I can carry that with me. I think the Human Rights Commission has been a great example of that in Royal Oak. The fact that we've been talking about this for 2 years, and then 3 members of this club said, we're going to keep pushing on this. We're going to push and push every day and make sure that it doesn't even drop off the radar for 1 second. And now here we are, we've had a presentation on it, and we're really moving forward on it this year. So please, like, that citizen involvement is exactly what we need and we value. So don't hesitate to bring that to me at all. I think that's all that I have. Does anybody have any questions? I guess we can maybe wait till the end of the commissioners.
Yeah, sure. We could do specific questions for the commissioners once all of you get through your updates. How do you want people to reach out to you or contact you if they want to walk with you sometime in the next couple weeks?
I'm going to put my my campaign page, but also my email in the chat.
Great, sounds good. City Commissioner Brandon Colo.
Hey guys, I'm going to be a little brief today. I don't know if my internet is working well, but I just want, it's a great time in Royal Oak. There's a lot of good things going on. I hope everyone came out and enjoyed Winter Blast. It was a great event, 70,000 some people downtown, a huge boost to our downtown businesses. It was packed. And we have this ice rink that's going to be there for another week now. So definitely go out and enjoy free ice skating for all residents. I've fallen on my butt no less than 5 times, but it's totally worth it. And then next year we're doing this and we're bringing in that ice rink from December until March. So, it's a really huge investment that we have in our community. I'm looking forward to fun stuff like that. And, that's the type of stuff we're working on right now as a commission. We're making sure that residents, we're trying to take care of our needs with this human rights commission. We're working on stuff like bringing in these events and, making sure that we all have something to do during COVID. So there's a lot of good going on. It's running long here, so like I said, I'll be brief, but please reach out if you need anything.
Great. Mayor Fournier.
Hi, everyone. How are you? I just want to say that if anyone ever questions Commissioner Colo's Michigan roots, he is wearing a T-shirt when it's 50 degrees out in the state of Michigan. So, I think his DNA is pretty much Michigander all the way. So just a couple quick updates. I know Commissioner Macy, Commissioner Colo covered some stuff. Just real quick on the ARPA, I just want to add, one of the things that we're looking at, we had some conversations on solar and renewables. I think that's really important for the city as well. We can put this ARPA funds into action to solve a lot of problems, but also, free up cash flow. Think if our utility bills go down with solar on all of our municipal buildings, et cetera. So the fight isn't just at Tom Regan's house. The fight isn't just at John Freeman's house or anybody else that's put solar in. I mean, the city has a stake, and I mean all of us that, support an environmentally sustainable future, but also support a wise financial decision in use of the ARPA funds. So we had some discussion about that. And if you have an opinion or support, we encourage you to relay it to ourselves, our staff, et cetera. Maybe just another quick note. I know there's been a lot of discussion on the Rochester Road improvements that we approved. I just want to encourage everyone to take the opportunity. It's an extensive, exhaustive study, which is a good thing that our engineers put together, and really, kind of understand our mission as a city has always been to keep Royal Oak one of the safest cities in the country. And that just doesn't mean from, bad guys running around with guns doing harm. It means making sure our streets are safe for pedestrians, that they're safe for motorists, that we minimize the amount of runoff going into our storm water system, which makes, our water system safer, our Great Lakes safer. So, we're trying to do our part. I think it's really interesting, the analysis. We do appreciate everybody that contributed to the public comment and that brought their feedback on the surveys. We got, I think, almost all of those questions answered by the engineers. Our city engineer is amazing. And, want to keep an open mind. Change is hard. But the benefits that this will bring to our community, I think, are going to be really good. It's going to make it much safer for people to cross, much safer to drive. And, certainly it's going to reduce our costs in the long run for this road. And, we're going to minimize stormwater runoff with the project. So, there's trade-offs. We think that the impact to traffic is going to be minimal, if at all, based on our engineer study. We just encourage people to read the study, keep an open mind, and, I guess if you have any further questions, we're open to talk about it. And then also just a reminder to everybody, I know you put your applications out there. We always have openings on city boards. And so we really need to find, always looking for folks to apply to our city boards and commissions, especially that represent the values of the community, like almost all of us on this call here today. So I encourage you to always update your resumes, bring them into the city, and help out in that capacity as well. Other than that, I'll hand it over to the next local official.
Great. Any questions for our city commission or mayor? We can kind of, field it as a panel based on sort of what direction people are curious about. Any updates about the road diet? I mean, you're among friends, so I don't think there's anyone who's gonna be, but I know that that's been a difficult social media fight to have right now. Yeah, just some comments. There's openings on the Parks and Rec Board and the Senior Services Board right now. They're a great way to play, you know, a different role in our community. Yeah, and Ian says that if the I-75 construction ever does finish up, our roads don't need to be used by people racing through on detours because they'll just go back to using the expressway. But yeah, I agree. I think my way to work has changed every single morning this week. So any questions though for our commissioners? No? Seeing none, we're going to move on to school board. Mary Ann, how about you go first?
Hi, everybody. So just real quickly, I know I think Tim has his hand up as well. So last board meeting, we had passed 2 resolutions in regards to Black History Month and Career Tech Ed, because the month of February was Career Tech Ed Month and Black History Month. So we both passed 2 resolutions in regards to that. Oh, you can't hear me very well. Okay. Also, Royal Oak Schools made the mask optional effective this past week. We haven't had a lot of feedback in regards to that. I know from families I've talked to, people have the option of their students still wearing a mask or not. It's all about the comfort level. We hope that can just stay that way, and the numbers are good. So hopefully we're past this hurdle and things can continue. And I think I'll let Tim speak, but just in general, you know, we did also get COVID funds, and we're still spending those COVID funds. And we've done more for security purposes as well. We did also pass to and approved the night locks. So those are being installed in our schools as well, from a safety and security perspective. And I'll just let Tim speak as well. And if anybody wants photos with kittens instead of Dana's 4 cats and wants to contribute to the funds for Dana, we'll offer up the kittens.
Well, that's way cuter than an incontinent cat. But maybe we could have our own local fundraiser. We've got a good number of very cute pets in this club. Tim, why don't you go ahead and then we'll do the same. We can do some school board questions together based on what people are curious about.
All right, perfect. We're like the closers every month. I like it. I've got 2 things really, really brief and super exciting. We're voting next week to adjust our code of conduct, and dress code's part of that as well. It's a very long overdue, I think, change that's needed to be done. What we're doing is we're going to make the code of conduct much more fair and less sorry, it's going to be way less punitive than it has been, and the districts has been going in that direction. However, our code of conduct does not allow for us to do it that way. So what we're going to do is it's going to take effect, hopefully, if it's passed, starting next school year. Any student who's currently in a discipline right now, we're going to leave it that way just because it's going to make it much simpler, probably for the student mostly. And really, really, really exciting. I've met with the superintendent and President Anderson Thursday. Something I've wanted to do for years before I was elected is get student representation on our school board. We're working on it. We're looking at other districts, what they're doing, how they're doing it, and seeing how that fits into what our vision of this will be. And hopefully that's something else that will begin with the next school year. And Melanie, I agree with you. I've heard that over half the children are still wearing masks, which kind of excites me. But yeah, any questions for Marianne and I?
Questions or updates from school board? That was an incredible amount of stuff, and we're really, really proud of the work that you're doing. I mean, of course, you know, I love public ed stuff, but these are some really important things. And I think, especially with so much focus right now on school boards, we really shouldn't take for granted, you know, how much progress we're making sure that our local board is doing, because we could very much be veering the opposite way with different representation, right? There's so much talk right now of making many, many parts of public ed illegal. And so thank you for continuing to expand that for teachers and students instead of decrease it. Any questions or comments about any of that? Masking updates, proclamations, progress?
And I just wanted to add on to Tim and Lauren to the code of conduct, and was also part of one of our subcommittees within the cultural competency group that we had. So there was a subcommittee with a lot of people participating. That was one of my subcommittees, but we had a lot of participation in that as well from parents and staff members. So.
Yeah, that's so interesting and really great. And probably for a lot of people, maybe outside of school systems, you know, updating dress code might not seem like all that relevant of a thing right now, or maybe you're surprised that there even are such strict dress codes in public schools. But I know as someone, you know, who interacts with this day to day, there are so many opportunities within a dress code to for a school to communicate their values on equality, gender equality, racial equality. There is a lot of aspects to a dress code that has to do with style of hair, religious expression, freedom of speech issues. You know, this can be very, very complicated for schools. So it's really important. Yeah. Any other questions for any of our elected officials? No, those kittens are so cute, Marianne. Melanie, I know that you kind of combined your elected officials report and candidate report. We're happy to have you do that. Is there anybody else on the call right now that is running for office that has not yet had a chance to speak, comment, or say hello? Okay. I didn't think so. Just wanted to make sure that we were covering all of the bases. So for those of you diehards who have stuck it out with us through this extra little part of the meeting, we really, really appreciate it. I mean, we still have an attendance over 50 people. And so just every single month, you guys do not fail to impress and surprise me. I love seeing this dedication and interest and just continuing to make our community better. There have been a whole bunch of updates about pool events and opportunities around the community. So we'll continue to communicate with those. Like Tom said, tomorrow at the Royal Oak Senior Center, we've got an opportunity to get some updates about the community garden. So if you want to stop by and see that, there is also the State of the County coming up for some updates. There's that meeting at the Royal Oak Farmers Market. If you click on the link that Charlotte shared, the event itself is free, but then there's an opportunity to donate. Obviously, it's a fundraiser, so the point is that they want to continue making money for that organization. So make sure that you do that. We have a cat and dog battle raging in the chat right now, so if you want to contribute to that, go for it. Lisa, did you? Oh, shoot. Lisa, do you want to give us a quick update about some of your efforts with the Human Rights Council? Do you want to wait till next month? I don't want to hold anyone over too much.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot.
Thank
you for that opportunity, Lauren, but you know, it's getting late and we're just working hard to, as was already so nicely stated, that we want to make sure this Human Rights Commission stays as a top priority. And now we're trying to get into a little bit of the details of what's the best way to go about making that happen. So several of you have expressed your support and interest in reaching out, and we're happy to have that. And we'll try to think of ways to keep you informed and included in the efforts as we move forward. Thank you.
Cool. We're proud of that work, like true democracy in action. So thanks for pushing that for all of us. Lisa and Rachel Andrews and Lynn Muth have made incredible strides and done an incredible amount of research and put in time to making this happen. Jan, the last that I talked to Von Derderian, there still was not anyone that had put a name forward for the 56th. So if you are at all curious or even playing around with the idea of running for office, that is a truly completely open seat. And we have reason to believe that it's a pretty comfortably Democratic seat. So if that's something that you're toying around with the idea of, and you still, you know, haven't gotten your name out there, please reach out to either me or Vaughn. He is our Oakland County liaison to Project 83 through the MDP. And we'll get you in touch with the right people and get you any information you need about possibly starting a run for the House 56. Any other general questions, announcements, or news for the common good? All right. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Anyone? Thanks, Lisa. A second? Arv, I see a second. All those in favor of adjourning for our March meeting, raise your hand, wave at me, party horn, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? All right, get out there and enjoy that nice weather. I don't know what the shape of a skating rink is going to be in 60-degree weather, but you know, it will. I guess we'll see. Maybe a community pool for a little bit. All right, have a good day, everybody. See ya.
Wait, I like this idea of a community pool.